This show is a Phonic Media production.
Today on the podcast, we're asking you, are you really ready to get shit done? Are you ready to CEO yourself? With the mother flipping tagline.
Hey, friend.
Hey, friend. Listeners, Neil and Victoria.
Yeah.
Whenever he sends me a voice note, he just starts with, hey, friend.
Love it. Shout out to them. Shout out to them.
They, in fact, big shout out to them. Big shout out and big
love.
Hug. Big hug and love.
Positive energy.
To Neil and Victoria, because they've had some challenges within business and they've had to make some very, very, very difficult decisions.
But they're great people and it will all work out.
Do you know what?
What?
I don't even care. I don't even care what you say about this. I don't even care. You're going to be furious.
What?
I'm going to give them a mug as a hug.
They've already got mugs.
Oh, of course they have. Oh, fuck it. I'm not doing it again then.
I mean,
you can
give them another one, but...
To be fair, unless they run it through the dishwasher and it looks ropey like ours does on the inside. I was going to send them a mug as a hug.
Sorry, I took a really big gulp
there. Wow, you did, didn't you?
I couldn't do anything about that. Anyway, I'm looking refreshed because I've had a weekend away.
Wow.
James might be looking a bit dishevelled because he's had the kids all weekend by himself.
Haggard.
But I don't know if any other parents do this when the other partner goes away and then the one that stays behind decides that they're just going to suddenly be all like domesticated. So it's like... tidying the whole house. We've done 4 or 5 loads of washing.
Yeah.
Yes, don't ask why we've got so much washing in our house. We just do. And
clean house top to bottom, did a weekly shop.
Goes to do a weekly shop. Normally I come back and he's tried to meal prep for the whole week as well. And then wonders why by the evening you're absolutely shattered.
Took him to baseball.
I mean, I just do it naturally.
We had naked pizza picnic.
Lovely.
I wasn't naked, the kids were.
No. Weird.
I didn't join in the nakedness.
It was a nice weekend.
Then we had a movie. They had a movie in bed with popcorn.
Such a nice weekend.
They had a sleepover. So Lewis slept in.
Did they hug each other in bed?
Yeah, they were snuggled up.
That is so cute. They've been going on. Honestly, if you've got kids and they're... love them, but they're so annoying. I was saying the other day to someone at the school gates, I actually can't take it. Getting them out the door, I have to ask about 5 times for them to put their shoes on. I can't. I actually feel quite zen having been away for a few days, which is...
I saw a meme of this the other day. They're like, why is it that my 8-year-old in the 5 minutes before school becomes deaf, dumb and blind?
Honestly, it's like...
they can't find nothing, they don't listen to nothing.
Honestly, and it really, really does wind me up. So they wanted to sleep over, it's been the bribe in the house
Oh my God, it worked better than Christmas.
Yeah.
For this entire week, anytime some slight sideways behaviour kicks in, I'm like,
that's it. No sleepover.
What? Don't think you can...
There's
not listening.
People out there listening going, that's a really bad way to bring up your children. But
if you're one of those people, fuck you.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Switch off, babes. We don't need your opinions, yeah? But
also, it was nice because I got to come back a bit earlier today, chilled in the garden. What?
Where you go with came back a bit early? You just came back at the time you came back? What do you mean you came back earlier?
I thought I was just going to come back later, but I didn't come back earlier, so it was nice. Sat in the garden. James carried on doing all his chores. I just carried on reading my book.
All of get this right. All of the psychologists there, they can assess what you just did there. By dropping out, came in back a bit early. You just arrived the time that you arrived.
No, God, chill out. All I'm saying is, I was supposed...
If you're thinking, he seems crabby, let me tell you why, listener. Because...
I don't know where this is going, but we're going with it. So
she comes home early from this 3-day trip. Bearing in mind, she's got to go do 1 keynote talk in a couple of weeks at an event. And she's going for a fucking week to
telling me go 3 nights.
To Northampton.
It's a 2-day event, and you're like, just go the night before.
She's going for about a week. How long are you going for? A fortnight. You're going for a fortnight, aren't you?
I'm going to travel out on the day, and you're like, just go the night before. Like, you want me to go.
You actually should go the night before because you're a fucking nightmare. Anyway, so she comes out early from this trip, walks in, doesn't announce that she walked in, so I thought we'd been fucking robbed. To shit myself when you walked in the door.
What do you want me to do?
Sexy robber though, to be fair.
What do you want me to do?
Bring a doorbell?
Why? I've got a key.
Well, then other people know that you're here.
That's all right. I was surprising you. Surprise!
Yeah. When you don't...
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Anyway.
And then she's like, oh, do you want me to help with... Should I do dinner? I'm like, no, you can stay there if you want. I'm thinking, that's a breadcrumb. That's breadcrumbing.
What did you think I was going to do?
Come and help or come and have a conversation with me. What? And then I hear the kids laughing and playing. I think, oh, that's nice. Mummy's home. She's coming early from her trip. Oh, isn't that nice that she's played? No, the kids are upstairs. Where's Mummy? Outside reading a fucking book. I was like, is this bitch? Is she kidding?
Bitch.
Is this bitch kidding me?
George was cuddling up to me. He's reading my book. They were loving it. They were jumping in the pool. They loved it.
When I heard them laughing, they were upstairs.
Yeah,
they
for
were
like 5 minutes.
No, not for 5 minutes. Anyway, Hayley's back,
Well,
everybody.
I do that every night, don't I? Cook by myself, so you're all right. There you go. Anyway. Anywho, I've had a lovely weekend. I took my mum away, went to a place called Saffron Walden.
Yes, that's right. We live in Kent, and she went to the adjoining county of Essex.
Town. So what? Why'd you have to go far? I've never been there. What's the difference?
Fair enough. No, good, but good for you.
Yeah,
I love that for
lovely.
you.
We went to. I keep forgetting the name of it.
Essex.
No, what's the house called? I went to
Audley End.
Audley End. Very beautiful.
Did they film Downton Abbie there?
No idea.
Fine.
No.
Did you read any of the things about the ancient house?
And I even
tell us a fun fact.
The people.
Tell her. Hang on. Wait a second. Here's Hayley's fun fact.
A pair of curtains.
Are you fucking kidding me? You went to a house.
No, listen. It's quite good. There are a pair of curtains in the room where the ladies went to after dinner. So the men went to one room and the women went to, and there was all these like little sofas. And the curtains are the oldest pair of curtains in the whole of the English heritages.
Oh my God, you couldn't make it up.
Couldn't make it up.
This massive estate, this ancient building of all history and heritage, and she knows some curtain facts.
They also made in these houses, they had adjacent doors, so even if a door didn't go anywhere and it was just blocked behind, because they like the symmetry.
What?
Yeah, so in a lot of these like old-fashioned sort of houses,
I'm trying.
You think about like really grand houses.
Yeah.
There's almost like a door, like going adjacent, even if it doesn't go anywhere. They just liked every room had like adjacent doors.
What do you mean adjacent door?
Like opposite.
Oh really?
So there was a door there. There'd be a door there.
What, even if it
didn't go anywhere?
It was like a style thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. See? Thank you very much.
I take back everything that the listener has said about you.
Thank you.
Great fact.
What else I learned? I don't know.
Get your facts out for the lads.
Anyway,
Anything else?
Weekend away. What?
Do you want to do your small business shout away here while you talk about the weekend? Should we do it early doors?
No, we'll do it later on because it will feed in a bit better.
But I want that leaflet to just stop looking at me.
That's awful, isn't it?
It's scaring me.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, so today on the pod, we're not just going to talk about Hayley's extended visit.
Shut up! You go away. You just got. Like I said, you go away for the weekend.
Where am I going to go?
Exactly.
I don't have any family. I don't have any friends. My only friend is you.
It's sad, isn't it?
My only friend.
That's on you, isn't it?
You're my everything.
I'll book for you to go away.
I will go away by myself. I fucking love being by myself.
Do it.
I like eating by myself.
My dad's trying to get you into a fishing trip.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
No, I'm not having. That's not using. I'm not allocating my days towards that. Sorry.
Anyway, we listened to a podcast last week, didn't we?
And by the way, the last time I went fishing, I still don't really like touching the fish when they're like half dead on the hook thing.
Oh,
so
it's just
is it all right as a 40-year-old man that I'm going to have to go with my father-in-law and my uncle-in-law, and they're going to have to take the fish off the hook for me?
Yeah.
I don't even like putting the maggots on really either.
Oh, it just sounds vile. Just go and take your book.
I do, but I just
be there for the entertainment.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Be the entertainment.
I will be the entertainment. So today's pod is not just about Hayley's extended trip. It is also about getting shit done.
Just getting shit done. But not in a way of like, just get shit done. Like, we listened to a podcast this week and I was like...
I heard it in the gym and I was like, oh my God, when something's like...
Me and I was like, and I've sent it on and I'm like... Which is what he says.
He said, just send it to one other person that needs to hear it.
And it was like, imagine being slapped in the face with a wet fish. Talking of fishes, it's like that.
Has anyone ever, that's a weird phrase, isn't it? Has anyone ever been slapped in the face with a wet fish?
Yeah.
Was it like a standard thing?
Although I wouldn't want to slap you in the face with fish. It'd probably hurt the fish. But if the fish is dead, I
think the fish is dead, yeah. I think it's more,
yeah.
It's feelings.
I don't know. I guess it used to be in comedy, didn't it? So, I don't know.
But why? Why a fish? I mean, if you're going to hit someone with something...
Know, it's going to be Robert Bushell.
Rob Bushell. If Rob Bushell's
watching
watching
this,
this,
and let us know.
if anybody knows, that's Business Marriage Pod.
Where did slapping around the face with a wet fish come in?
Because if you're going to slap anyone with any form of meat, surely you get one of those like giant jamon Spanish pig legs.
That would literally but that would be like too much. Whereas a wet fish, it's like a...
Depends on the size of the fish. If you've got like an electric eel, and if you've got enough of a...
That would really hurt. I'd love to do that. Right in your face.
Should we do...
Should we have an episode where we just slap
If you would like to see Hayley slap me with a fish, just DM the word fish and we will arrange it.
No, that's cruel. I'm sure there'll be someone that complain. We're not doing that.
Oh, yeah, PETA, whatever they're called. Anyway, so this podcast is by a guy called Alex Hormozy. And if you're thinking, who the hell is Alex Hormozy? He's this guy.
I've founded and exited 9 businesses. My last one at $46.2 million. Our current portfolio does over $200 million a year. And I make these videos so that you can make money.
So
money. He's a pretty
so he knows some
deal.
stuff, right? He knows some stuff.
Big
I'm actually wearing his hat.
Yeah.
Not his personal hat. That would be really weird, wouldn't it?
But I remember
I've actually got his head in a box.
You bought his book last year, didn't you?
I did. I've had all of his books,
when we was away for your birthday weekend.
It was.
And you read it.
I did.
But have you actioned it?
I haven't actioned it. So to read and not to do is not to read. To know and not to do is not to know.
We're talking about the whole getting shit done.
To shit and not to shit is not to shit.
Can you play a clip of it?
Yes.
And then we can talk about it.
Okay, so the context is I heard this podcast in the gym on Monday morning. I was like, that is banging. It's 20 minutes. It's dead simple. Alex Hormozy's podcast is called The Game. Go and check it out. It's very, very good. He's been doing it for like 7 or 8 years. He's now like mega famous in the information educational space. But he was doing stuff long before anyone really gave a shit. And as he's now mentioned, he's got like 20 odd companies. He invests in companies that are doing between $3 and $10 million in turnover, I think. And then he helps to ramp it up and accelerate it. He's a very, very, very smart marketer.
But one thing I love when I listen to that podcast, which we're not going to share now, is that he says he still, to this day, loves working and helping with companies that are more around the 100,000 mark, etc., because it makes him stay relevant and understanding what people need.
So to
grow a business.
He does works on very, very big business stuff, but he does videos, podcasts, content, books. It's all for small business owners.
Wow.
So he just loves the game of business, which is why his podcast is called it. A bit like my pal Jimbo.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to make YouTube content. He doesn't need to make podcasts, but he likes doing it. He likes helping other people. He likes lifting other people up. And also, I think as you teach, the more you teach, the more you learn. Yeah. Or the deeper the level of learning.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of that. Anyway, this is what Alex said. And I haven't got the clip. I haven't got the actual bit because there was one bit and I was like, that is so bang on. He said, you can't be, if you're broke and you're saying you're busy, you're not. You can't be both. You can be broke or you can be busy. You should not be both. You can't be broke and busy. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, that's so right. How many people are like, oh, I'm busy, I'm so busy. But they're not where they want to be. Yeah. People use it as a fucking bullshit badge of honour, don't they?
So true.
Anyway, here's the clip of what he said.
I remember when I was in weight loss, I would have a lady who would walk in and she would say something like, hey, I don't want to lose too much weight. Right? Or I'd have a guy, and this is probably the more common one.
By the way, he's hench.
Well, I don't want to look like you.
Because he's
like,
massive.
And I'm like, don't worry, you never will. But the point is they would look at me and say, I don't want to get bulky like you. You have too much muscle. I don't think that looks good. And I'm like, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and just be jacked as shit and have trained for 20 years, right? It's not going to happen. There's going to be a million days in between, and at any point you can say, I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to try and maintain. But the thing is that people try and say that they don't want the extreme version of a solution, so they're not willing to take a step in that direction.
How powerful is that?
So
how
is that the only clip where we've got more?
No, that's the only one I've got.
That is just, so that really just resonated with me because I was thinking about, and I've done it.
On your own fitness journey recently, I guess.
Fitness, but no, more on finance. So rather than being like, like when you say how rich you want to be, I'll be like, yeah, well, I don't want a private plane and I don't want that. It's almost like you're straight away going, no, I don't want that. Is it like a safety blanket? But like, why am I thinking about that? Like, I'm barely affording my car. Do you know what I mean? So why am I thinking about owning a private jet?
Yeah.
There's a lot that would go in between there. Like, it's that kind of thing. I was like, oh my God, that really resonates.
I think it's one of those things where people say those sorts of things, and I think we're all probably guilty of it to an extent.
But I don't want to be
like that.
You
say it as protection of your ego.
Like I say, then, sorry.
No, you go.
No, I was saying like that. Like, I don't want to grow, because I see you growing your business, and I say, I don't want to grow a business that big. But I haven't even employed my first person. So I suppose there's a bit of a,
but you might know that you don't want that.
That is a good thing. I suppose that's slightly different. But
yeah, but it's being aware that actually, is it because that's not genuinely what you want? Yeah. Like you want a lifestyle business based in the area that we live, because it's really nice around here. Yeah. Ideally with probably sub 10 people in a nice local office that's near to school and probably employs a couple of other people who are linked to the school. One in particular, David, oh my God, her new employee / freelancer who is...
Love him.
Oh my God, just like the apple of her eye. She looks at David in ways
when
that
I see him in the playground,
I could only dream of.
Yeah, there is. There's like hearts that just, whoa.
Fluttery hearts.
There he is.
When you see him. But he's amazing. But you know that in advance.
Yeah, and I suppose that is different to what he's talking about. But how many times have we said that sort of thing? Like, I don't want that.
And the fitness thing. I've done that. I wouldn't want to be that big. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're 11 stone wet. Chill out.
Once you get to the weight that you're happy with, then you just maintain it.
Yeah.
So that was really poignant. But there was another bit as well when he was talking about how so many people don't do the stuff that they think isn't scalable.
Yes.
But he's like, you've just got to get shit done. You're thinking about the things that you're not going to do because it's not scalable, but you haven't even fucking made a penny. Like, just fucking do the shit.
Yeah,
to make money.
It's true.
So, and not from a just money way, but he was saying, like, for example, I forget the guy's name. I'm not very good at retaining information, but there was a guy who's very successful now, and he was selling, was it a service-based business or a product-based business? And he used to handwrite all of the thank you
so he's
cards.
called Andy Frisella. And he owns a company called First Form, which is an American supplement company.
Amazing.
And it does, I think, $200 million a year in turnover now. Like, massive.
But when he started, he used to write handwritten notes.
He started with one shop. He had a supplement shop. And when he formulated his own thing, he was still working in the supplement shop to pay for making his first batch. And he would write the cards on someone else's dime. He literally worked in like USN or whatever.
A great example, because most people would sit here now going, that is not scalable. Handwriting a note is not scalable. Now, for him, it was, because he just got shit done. He did it. It worked. People loved it. It built rapport with the people. They bought into the company more. They bought more product, okay? And then what did he do? Then he started writing more. Then he got his team to write them. Does that make sense? So it is scalable because, like Alex says in his podcast, you
Alex,
think it
first
sounds...
name terms.
Alex, whatever. What's his long name then?
You don't even know his name, do you?
Alex Hormozy.
Oh, okay, fine.
Well, do I need to say his full name every time?
No, I just didn't realise you were so...
Sorry, Alex Hormozy.
I didn't know you were so closely acquainted. Him and his wife work together.
I know.
Coupled together on the pod.
Us. Oh, yeah. I'll get him on the podcast. Probably won't come on. He might do, though. 2 businesses in that kind of market.
Rob Deerdeck came on.
Hello.
Not being funny.
Hello. Anyway, the point being...
Get to the point. I'd love to hear one.
Is that he knew that worked. And rather than going, it's not scalable, he just worked out how to scale it.
Here's the point.
How many things do we not do that's scalable?
You are right and not right.
Oh.
Because you said he knew it worked. No, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
To start with, he just did it. And I think that's part of it. The whole, like, the Nike analogy, just do it.
Yeah.
How many things do is it going to be scalable to send out 100,000 cards? By the way, First Forms still send handwritten cards. Maybe not to every single customer and client, but they still send them. As part of their marketing strategy, they still send them. And again, in a world that we live in now with USG or UGC, user-generated content, being so popular, as a small company, are you doing that thing?
Yeah.
Because by the way, I'm guilty of this. Every time we launch a podcast, what does the client really get? They get a podcast that's in the charts. There's nothing tangible. They can't look and feel it and hold it and touch it. So we should be doing, and I've said this so many times, I haven't fucking done it still, that we should be doing... what do you call them? Mix tiles.
Yeah.
The mix tiles, we put the artwork and put their artwork in the podcast in the charts appearance, and
do that
just do that. Is that scalable with hundreds of clients? Well, it probably fucking is, to be fair.
Yeah,
because it's mixed tiles. So find a solution for it. But anyway, sorry, the point being, going back, reverse engineering, I don't think there's so many things that you don't know that's going to work to start with, but you do it anyway.
Yeah.
It feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So do it. You're never going to have 100% guarantee or clarity of thought that this one thing is going to work.
Yes.
This one part of branding is going to work.
Yes.
Sending these cards is going to work. With the sort of stuff that you do, for example, like a frame for clients when because again, a brand, like, it exists online and it exists on a website and it exists on social media, but actually you doing like print, old school, print version of their brand, and you send that to them, is like a wow moment. Yeah. And you do that for the right reason.
For the clients that haven't
you should do that
before.
because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And they have that wow moment. Conversely, they probably take a photo with it. They probably post it online. They probably post it, oh my God, it's so amazing, blah, blah, blah,
100%.
which brings you more business. But you've done the thing because it's the right thing to do. Because doing the right thing is always the right thing to do. But it has an additional benefit to it.
Yeah.
You don't know if that's going to work though.
No, but I've done it before where I've sent physical print and the reaction was phenomenal. But it's that, do the unscalable. Like, don't...
So why have you not done it for other people?
Shall I tell you the honest truth?
Here we go.
It's shocking, really.
Forgot.
No. It's just
Too busy?
Yeah. As one project's coming to an end, it's almost like I've got like 4 waiting and I just jump. Or sometimes they're still working with me.
You ready for this killer quote?
Yeah.
Growing your busyness won't always grow your business.
Oh my God.
Shit, hold on.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh, that
is a bad jingle. So is that.
Growing your busyness will not grow your business.
That was awful. Do that again.
Growing your business will not grow your business.
Anyway, the whole
growing
idea...
your business will not grow your business. I like that.
But what I found really interesting as well, and I was trying to work it out, because on that podcast, like I said, it's like 25 minutes, he started talking about the kind of service-based model, how you start with doing it for them.
Okay, yeah.
Is that the right way around? Or
do it with them. No, you do it for them to start with.
So you do it for them to start with.
Then you do it with them.
Then you do it with them.
And then you teach people to do it.
And then you teach them how to do it. Okay. Are you sure it was that way around? Because I felt like, because that's like my way around. I thought his might have been the other way around.
Oh, I'm not sure. What's your point here?
But that when he speaks about whole like doing the unscalable, it's almost like you get in, you learn, you get it done. Do you know what I mean? You find out what works and then you tweak it. And then once that's working, it's like you then look at how you can do that model, but in a way where, you know, you can step out of it a bit more. You do like, rather than like say personal training 1-to-1, you're then doing it like 1 to a group. So it was almost like someone saying, I do these like 1-to-1 calls, but it, you know, it's just not scalable. Okay, well, are they working? Well, yeah, they do work. Okay, well then do like say like 1 to 6 people. So say to people the calls are in mini groups. So it's just about tweaking things. So it's like finding out what works. But if you don't get in and do the fucking thing to begin with, like if I think, bringing it back to us, if I think of one of my biggest offerings at the minute is something that honestly just came out of kind of nowhere. It was an idea to help. But it was an idea to help people a bit more with their content. So like producing organic content, which actually links into Alex Hormozy. When you read that book, he's very much about that kind of like put content out there. Do you know what I mean? Just put it out there. I'm
sure he does 60 pieces of content a day kind of vibe.
Do it all. Do you know what I mean? Mix it up. And I love that. So I had this idea, and then I had, do you remember, a random inquiry through LinkedIn, someone who just needed help with like more of the socials and like sorting out their presence and the messaging. And I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And it wasn't like I'm just taking the piss, but it's almost like, just go for it. Roll your sleeves up and work it out. And that client has been with me for about 2 years now.
Who is that client?
Sarah.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So I'd done a few
So explain what the offering is, because you've made that sound really confusing.
So before that, I had worked with a couple of people where I was helping them with their content.
Yeah.
And it was two different clients. One I really worked with, they were really in their messaging, if that makes sense. They were really in their business day to day.
Yeah.
And so I could enhance what they were trying to deliver by helping them write their copy, make it all look good, schedule it, etc. But then I had another client where they weren't doing, it wasn't their full-time business. And I found actually it didn't help because they weren't in it enough. Does that make sense? So I kind of stopped it after a while.
Well, the organic content posting wasn't enough.
Those projects came to an end, and I sort of sat back and I was like, I'm not feeling it because it felt not quite right.
But this is a content offering, so you help them to make their content.
And then I had this idea, I wonder if I don't like doing the scheduling, and actually I find writing it's taking them away from being in it. Because the people that I'm working with, they're in those early years, and I feel no one's going to know the message as good as them. Does that make sense?
100%.
Like, yes, I can help them write copy for the website, but like the day-to-day messaging. So I had this idea of, could I actually offer a service where I'm doing all the bits that I love, but also empowering them to be better content machines?
So you help them with the content idea, they write the content,
100%.
and then you make it pretty.
Like,
Hashtag make
think
it pretty.
about
It's
the
a new
biggest
tagline.
accountability partner. So we map it out for the month. We know what they're going to be writing. We know what events they've got coming up. We know what they're trying to sell, and we map it out. This is what you're writing. It's going to be a blog. This is going to be a carousel. You're going to do a quote here. You're going to share this case study. And then they've like got no excuse. They go off and write it.
Go and do it, yeah.
They give it to me each week. Then I go, here you go. Here's all your amazing graphics, carousels, top and tail videos, whatever it is. Does that make sense? And then they go and put it out.
So you
They're
are like
in the
holding them
business.
to account.
100%.
They are writing the content,
100%.
and then you are you're doing the branding
Yeah.
of it. So the graphics, the look and
100%.
feel, and the little videos and all that stuff.
But it's also the strategy. It's almost like, okay, so what have you know, you've got a course launching in September. So right, we need to start selling it now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and it works so great. But if I hadn't have just like rolled my sleeves up and gone, let's just do it, like that came in. Do you see what I mean? What I'm trying to say is like sometimes you've just got to take that leap.
I think as well, to your point, I think that could become your biggest revenue generator. I think
100%.
on like a monthly recurring basis, I think that's the offering.
And I've
I
never
think
pushed
sometimes
it,
you'll
have I?
stumble.
No.
Not at all. But I think. And this is another good thing about just getting on and cracking. I know, like, just do it. It's such
Just do it.
you know, but it's so true though,
But it
isn't
is
it?
a little
Because
bit.
you get moving, you get some momentum, and like in that instance there, you stumbled across an offering that I think that's I think 80% of businesses need that.
Yeah, I need
you need it.
I've
You
reverse engineered. I've brought in David, and he does that.
Second mention for
me.
David.
Shout out to David.
We should have a David count. Can we have a David counter? Ding. He'll love that.
But I knew that I was, you know, I had some of my business besties were like saying, Hayley, you need to start delegating. You're getting to the point where you just can't do it all. And even though I had the ideas of content and I like designing and I like doing all my socials, it was getting to the point I just wasn't finding the time. So I'm doing all this great stuff for all my clients and then not doing it for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive believer in that's just shit. Like if you're
Beautifully put there.
No, but
Very
if
eloquent.
you don't practice what you preach,
I just believe
do you know
that's
what
just
I mean?
shit.
So,
that's true.
So now having someone here, it's like we've got to map it out each week. He goes off. There'll be bits that I'm writing.
So you're
he's
accountable to
writing.
him now. So exactly the value that you bring to
100%,
clients in terms of your
100%.
accountability, you're
And
now accountable
I've
to somebody
had
else.
Consistent content for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Apart from weekends. But every day on my business, on my personal, there's something going out.
Yeah.
And I've got videos, and I've got carousels, and I've got graphic. It's a real variety mixture. I've got blogs, and I'm like, it's so important. Just get shit done. And that's why David, I love him as well, because he just like rolls his sleeves up and he's in there.
There's something to be said for people like that.
100%.
Something to be said for those people. When I look around at the people who I know who've done very, very well, they've just done the thing.
Yeah. And do you know, I was
Just
having this
do the
conversation with
fucking
a
thing.
client that I'm working with.
But clever, but sensibly.
Yeah.
Because some people do just, they dig so hard, but they find themselves a mile down.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you can't see the wood for the trees.
I was talking to a client the other day who are just about to launch their new exciting website, which I'm so excited about. They're in the educational space. They support neurodivergent children through education in the UK. So whether they're based in the UK or if it's international students coming over, and it's fascinating what they do. And they've obviously got quite a few different services and offerings. And I was having this conversation. I was like, do you know what? At this stage, you can do it all, but as you go on, you might find that there's things
niche,
that are more prominent, or you might tweak it or twist it. And I was like, I think that's maybe being an entrepreneur. B, I think that's running a business. I think you're constantly evolving and stuff like that. And that's why, like, when I listened to that podcast, I was just like, wow, that is so true, because it's like, how many things do we not take that initial first step because we're already thinking like too far down the line about, oh, how would I scale that? But I could think, well, I can only take on so many clients. So there's no point in me pushing this monthly service because, you know, I could probably only do a few more. But if it works, then how could you scale that? Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? I could have someone else that's helping me with the design. I could have, do you see what I mean? There's so many more ways around it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, check it. I know we spent a whole podcast talking about it, but I think it was Pippa. My friend Pippa, I sent it to her, and what did she say? It was something about like when he said like you're sitting there moaning about like it's something like you're moaning that you haven't got any money, but you're not fucking doing anything.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was just so true.
It's true.
You know, and it's like I was saying,
and it's not just money as well. I see
Yeah.
so many other people, and I've been guilty of this. You know, I've looked at people who, you know, smash it in like the podcasting space, and I'm like, oh my God, how are they getting these results? But I was like, well, but you haven't been consistent with your podcast.
Yeah.
You know, okay, I'm doing this with you, and there's another podcast I'm involved in, but the one that I was doing originally, the one that set up all of it, I stopped doing.
That came up on my feed. Did I send it to you?
No.
It was. It came up on my. It came up on my Facebook. It was 4 years where you interviewed me on building the brand podcast. And I was like, I must listen, because that would have been just when I'd started Orange Lamb.
Yeah.
So I got to listen to that.
If it's still floating about
And
the
do you know
ether
what?
somewhere.
Right, this is going slightly off topic, but
go on, it's your podcast, girl. You go there.
I was talking the other day, and I
there.
don't want to bring up the people, but we're saying about the whole. I don't know Alex Hormozy, obviously, and I don't know how much
like
he
you do.
is involved in the businesses, but he did say that he's very conscious of always helping people who are in the start-up business phase, or like the really small businesses, so that he stays really relevant in his training. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Which he doesn't charge for, by the way, which is fucking
phenomenal.
genius.
But it made me think, I'm not going to name any names, and we've both experienced it in our life, when you've worked with those people where your ego, do you see what I mean, gets to the point where you feel like you're above all of that.
Yeah.
No, you're
so
still
you
above
won't do
that.
the work.
You don't. I don't need to do that anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying. Like, I guess in certain circumstances, you get to a point where you bring someone in to do those jobs. It's not really that. I'm talking about, like, it's the mindset.
The mindset that you're too good for it.
You're too good for it. I don't need
There's
to do
a
that
difference
anymore.
between I'm too good for it and it's not a good use of my time.
Yes, 100%.
That is a
say like
mindset
James
shift.
Sinclair, for example. You know, when we're talking about him, because you know him, you work with him on the podcast. Like,
he's your number one fan.
He's my number one fan, but he's a great guy, and he's a multi-millionaire, isn't he? Like, he's got super, like, loads of businesses. He does really well, but he is so in there with the people, giving out free education. But he generally wants to help. He wants to learn. He wants to help. Do you know what I mean? Like, give people advice. Like, and that's what I'm saying. The day that he's like, I don't need to do this, because you're not my people.
Yeah, like, which I'm above this.
I want you to buy all my books, and I want you to sign up to my training, but I'm a bit above this.
Do you know what? I've got to say, with Jimbo,
I'm telling you, it 100% changes.
And it does, and I think again we've talked about the universe before. I think the universe knows it starts to bring you fucking back down to earth. We know three examples of this in very close proximity.
Yeah.
Where when you think that your shit don't stink, someone's going to slap you around the face with that wet fish, like we talked about earlier. I've done
it's coming.
dozens and dozens of podcasts now with Jimbo.
Yeah.
And he speaks to everyone from people who are doing, 20, 30, 40 million quid a year in turnover to people who are making their first £1,000 a month. And he has never once turned around and gone, this is not a good use of my time.
No.
He's never once gone, oh, why am I even having this conversation? Yeah. I'm above that person. There's so many people who might do, I don't know, who do a fraction of what he does, and the ego just goes.
Think about like celebrities. Obviously, we don't know them personally, but you hear those stories of those celebrities that are so up their own arse. Do you know what I mean? You hear the stories, and then they're the ones actually in the industry that become a bit like ostracised. Yeah.
I listened to another great podcast. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Who's Iron Man.
Yeah.
And he was being interviewed by, so I've got to get it up here. And the phone. He was being interviewed by a guy who is an amazing record producer, and now his name escapes me. Rick Rubin.
Right.
Rick Rubin has probably, like, you're going,
why do I know his name?
Because he's produced every amazing record in the history of the world.
Right,
like, there's no way that you watching this or you watching and having this conversation with me now have not been touched by the music of Rick Rubin at some point. He can't.
Touched how?
He can't.
Sorry, that was just really
so weird. He can't play any instruments.
Right.
He can't mix and he can't master.
What does he do?
He's a producer. He brings the fucking magic together somehow. It's fucking amazing. Anyway, he's got a podcast called Tetragrammaton. Dreadful name, Tetragrammaton. But he interviewed Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. was saying how his love of Wing Chun Kung Fu has kept him grounded. Because he's been doing it for 20 years now. But he's like, as soon as you think that you're above, that you can beat someone, you will you'll get your own comeuppance because you can't fight force with force. In Wing Chun, you don't fight. If someone's much bigger than you and they come at you with power, you step back with the same level of power to attack. Yeah. The whole thing is not about going against the force, it's going with the force, it's the flowing with the force, right? Which sounds all a bit woo-woo, but he's like, but that's kept me grounded the whole time. And there's like a...
he's like an A-lister, isn't he?
He's absolutely A-lister, but he is very... Like, he was talking about how he prepared for Charlie Chaplin. And he was like, they was messing around with the contracts for 9 months and all the rest of it. And I was starting to get a bit frustrated. I was like, look, go back to my Wing Chun, grounding in Wing Chun. You can't fight force with force. So what can I do with this 9 months where there's doing the contract negotiations? I can become the best version of me. So I can learn how Charlie Chaplin did the slapstick comedy. I can learn how he did the walk. I can learn how he danced. He found old footage and old recordings of choreography from Charlie Chaplin's scenes and would go through it. He did practice scenes, and he put Charlie's face on the screen. He had someone edit it for him. He would do the scene, then he put Charlie's face on the screen, and he'd blend them together. And then if he was off, then he'd redo it. It got to the point where the producer said to him, which was Richard Attenborough's brother. What's Richard Attenborough's brother? The guy who's in Jurassic Park.
John
Richard. John Attenborough.
Richard.
It is Richard. What's the real famous? Oh, David. Of course it is. Yeah, David. Yeah, so David Attenborough. So David Attenborough's brother, Richard. Yeah. He calls him Dickie in the podcast, which is that's an unfortunate nickname, isn't it? But anyway, he came to him. He got so good. He said, because of sharpening my sword to play the role, I became such an unbelievable actor during that period because I embodied Chaplin that Richard Attenborough came up to him in a scene and he said, "I shit you not, this is God's honest truth." And he said, there's a scene where Charlie Chaplin realises, I think it's like his third wife had died or something like that, and he said he's got to play the scene. And he said to him, "I want you to, me and the producer would like you to have a single tear. We'd like one single tear that we can just capture right at the crescendo of this scene." And he got so good, Robert Downey Jr. said to him, "Which eye?" And he said, "Left. We think we'll look better out of the left eye." Robert Downey Jr. could cry one single tear out of his fucking left eye because he had just done the work.
Got shit done.
He got shit done. So anyway, did nothing else in this podcast. We just promoted 2 other podcasts. Do you know what though? Jokes aside,
fucking great.
If you are going, I ain't got time for this and I'd love to be better. If you are travelling, if you're commuting, if you're going to work, if you've got to go on a fucking plane somewhere, if you have to get in a car, use the time. Yeah. Podcasts 100%. Can become your classroom.
Yes.
Your car can become your classroom. That conversation with Robert Downey Jr., 2.5 hours of how to be one of the best actors on the planet.
So cool.
And he just shares about going to jail. He shares about drug and alcohol problems. He shares about all this stuff. But he talks about the whole thing, that sort of the thread throughout that whole conversation is just do the work.
And just keep grounded.
Just do the work. Yeah. Stay grounded. Realise that you're never better as soon as you're... There's like different levels in Kung Fu, and he's doing it 20 years. He's like, I think now that I've got a good basic level as a trainee. I'm a good trainee now. 20 fucking years.
But that is so true. Like, bringing it back to like business, isn't it? Of any business, you have to stay relevant to your customers. Does that make sense? Otherwise, your brand just becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And you've also got to just stay in the game.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that, at the moment, we're going through, there's a potential fucking another war coming.
What?
Oh, don't even go there. There's another war coming. There's an election that's going on. There's so much fucking upheaval.
I had the news on. When you stay in a hotel and then you just put, you just get up and you put the telly on and it's like the news. I don't watch the news. If anyone
for good reason.
Bad, I don't watch the news. I don't watch horror films. I don't watch scary real life crime stuff. I don't watch things now that can just infiltrate my brain. And the news was on, and I'm like, it is just horrible. It is just depressing.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't know where we were going with that.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know. But talking about...
It's difficult. Times are difficult anyway. You've got to sharpen your tool.
Get shit done. It's time for...
The small
business shout out.
It's small business shout out. Yeah. This is the point of the show where we share
Get a
great
look
small
at
business.
This bad boy James has been staring at this weird, creepy face.
Absolutely horrifying. Look at him.
So this morning I had the pleasure
I am coming
of
for
going
your
to
wheat,
a
your grain and your
very
women.
random place called Mount Fitchett Castle in Essex, near Stansted Airport. And it's a Norman village from 1066.
Wow.
Right? So we're going back medieval times now. It's actually a recreated village. It did used to obviously exist on that site.
On the Mount of Fitchett, you
It's
say?
now a reenactment. So it's effectively like a village. There's all thatched roofs. It's like makes this whole village, and you can walk around, and it tells you about how they lived. Oh my God, the torture back in medieval times was absolutely horrific.
Yeah, we are
The stuff
barbarians.
I saw today, it was just absolutely awful. But we're not going to go into that. But my point being, as I was walking around, I was like, I looked to my mum. I was like, there's this massive like stone mill with this big like stone thing on this like wooden pole, and you have to like push it round. She's like, yeah, so they would have put all of the
grain
on there, and then
To
they
make
would have
flour.
just done it to make flour. Fuck me, that must have been hard work. And then you see how they're making all the animal hides, for like the windows and the floors. Oh, when I read what they had to do to make that, it has to be like covered in any type of dog's mess, dead chickens, all of that, because it does something. And then the smell must have been just absolutely vile. And then it's like, then you go into the next, and they're making how they make their bread, and then the next one, and it's like how they made candles, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like
We've got it so
we've got
easy,
it
haven't we?
so easy,
It's so
yet we
good.
feel like we've got it so hard.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
walking
true.
around going, they fucking made everything. They're making their clothes. They're getting the wall. They're doing this. Like everything they needed to live, they had
made.
to go and
Yeah,
get. Yeah, they had to get their hands dirty, get in. And I was in this, one of them was like where the family lived. And they were like, yeah, we had a bath once a month. Once a month they had a bath, but only...
Was it actors?
It's not actors, but it's got like...
Animatronic things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
It's like we had a bath once a month only in the summer. In the winter they didn't. And there was 20 of them that lived in this like tiny little place.
We
and they
don't know we're
lived
born.
around the fire. And I was just like, we have got it so easy.
We have.
Yet we sit here, don't we, day to day thinking, oh my God, I've got it so hard. Like I've got the kids at
I've
school.
got a client meeting at 5 tomorrow.
I've got to try and get in a gym session. Like if I actually hear it, I've got to try and get in a gym session. Then I've got to get some work, and then I'll have to make dinner
should be our
when I
new
get back.
thing.
It's like, am I a medieval time, fucking living in shit, making
Pushing
my own
a
food?
big bit of wood round a fucking millstone to get a bit of flour?
They literally used to poo and things in buckets. Just used to throw it in the street.
Oh, so you still do that, to be fair?
I mean, yeah, I do that, but no, it did make me. I did actually say to my mum, I was like, "Fucking hell, we got it easy, haven't we?" You think we can go into a supermarket and literally buy, if you wanted to?
This
which
is mad,
Another
isn't it,
thing.
you think?
This is for another episode about not eating this. Fibre First. We could do an episode on Fibre First.
Well, maybe read the book
But anyway,
first,
I'll
and
read
then
the-
you
I'll read
can
the book
try and be
first.
an expert.
But no,
or
I was
get
just
the guy
saying,
on.
like when you think you go into a supermarket now and you wouldn't even have to cook, you could just buy everything ready made.
Yeah.
Then you go back to here, medieval times. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Do you want to do a succinct little shout out for them then?
So, if you are looking to go back to Norman times and recreate a village in medieval Britain, go to Mount Fitchett Castle in Essex. It's a great day out for all the family. You won't be disappointed. It's lots of fun. It's educational. They've also got House on the Hill, which has got one of the oldest or biggest toy collections, which was random but amazing. There's a haunted house, and also you can feed the animals.
Wow, what more do you want? Did you
more
go
do
in the
you want?
haunted house?
I did.
Did
I
you?
hated it.
Was it haunted?
No,
Did
it's
you
more
sense it?
like a ghost train but walking round.
What?
So like, you know, like a fake ghost train, but rather than sitting in a car going around, you're walking around with a lantern.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like that.
Oh, it sounds
I
fucking
hated
horrible.
It. And
Yeah,
Mum
that
was like,
sounds-
oh, it was nothing. I was like, it's not that. It's like the little black tunnels. I'm like, I'm feeling claustrophobic. But
Anyway, make sure you go though.
But definitely
After all
go.
that,
It's good
so
fun.
there you go. Well, hopefully you've had enough out of this podcast. You can just go on and get shit done. Yeah, get
In
out
the
there.
show notes, we will put links to the podcast that we've spoken about as well.
founded and exited 9 businesses.
Founded and exited 9 businesses.
Let's get Alex Hormozy on the show.
Hormozy and Layla, his wife. We should try our best to get him on the show. If you know Alex Hormozy, please do let him know that we're shouting him out on this podcast. If you have enjoyed this episode, please feel free to let us know. Leave a 5-star review or get in touch with us via @BusinessMarriagePod on all social media, and we'll see you for the next one.
Bye-bye.
In the meantime, before we see you again though, just get shit done, yeah? All right, ta-da, bye.
Done.
This show is a Phonic Media production.